Okay, killers, welcome back to another episode of the Old School Gym Killers. Just me for now. But I just got out of the Mastermind with the other cats. I'll put a link in the description below. And we are building. There's just a couple of us now, which makes it all so beautiful. Me saying today, while it's not there yet, it will be a great many heavy hitters from all walks of life growing slowly as a plant grows, making these trunks strong first, and then the branches can come out to support thousands of other little life forms of all little size and shape, and plant and animal and critter, right? So what we're really realizing in the Mastermind this morning, again, I'll put a link in the description below, is that making a vision come through, right? You have this metaphysical idea, it's just a thought, and then it comes out into reality, whether it's your painting, your music, your business, whatever the art form may be, your martial arts exhibition. Now, how about we just take on faith? How about not what we want for us, but what God wants for us? How about we just do the divine goals, right? Get strong so that we can help the people that we love the best. You know, so many people could watch their child drown and go down the river because they're too fat. They're too out of shape to save them. They're not fast enough on the freak because they were drinking last night, and their processing power, their processing performance has been hindered from this, right? So if you watch my channel, which is just starting out, but I have faith, and I'm building that faith, not to just grow this specific thing actually anymore. Today is a pivot point where I am choosing now to just make myself strong, work on myself, make myself the goal. Make myself the goal. No more metaphysical limitation it could be. I could achieve my excellent goal being this business, this new. And I was telling the guys in the Mastermind, you'll hear it. You know, I've got 2 apartments right now. Air conditioner, fully furnished, brand new bed, brand new couches, brand new cool hand chairs for a cool young person. One of them has a Nissan Patrol, perfect first car, very safe. It's a tank parked outside of it. I have the neighbor just start it every now and then. You know, it doesn't even have insurance for a year now. But I because I built a whole bunch of things for one specific person that didn't want them, that doesn't want them. And that's a whole another evil I'm done talking about. But because I was so gung-ho about building for this person, now several people have had a free place to stay, a free car, you know. The mechanic drove around that patrol for a year, you know, and I just finally decided to get it off the island and take it to the mountains because the island's got the salt, right? But I figured the kid would find, because she's always been involved with water, she's always loved to go to the water, and that's Water World over there, so I figured she'd end up going there first. But whatever. Now there's 2 apartments, and people just get these things for free. You know, people are using them for free with the understanding that if they ever get claimed by the person they were intended for, your fucking gig's over. But keep them nice, keep them warm, keep them clean, keep the spiders out, right? You know, because they actually sat open for years. Years. 3 now. You know, they just sat open. Just air conditioning running in the tropics on dry mode constantly just to keep the furnitures nice, right? Just to keep the bugs out because they don't like that climate. that's in. So, but to have it now, it's been so long. There's cobwebs everywhere. You know what I mean? The truck's not starting. Cobwebs everywhere. It's just, and I've been holding on to the truck just as like a totem. But I'm going to just go ahead and it's just going to go down to nothing. So I'm better to just sell that and keep the money. We'll try to find something else. It was a perfect buy, though. I mean, 99 Patrol, 4-inch chassis pipe. But you can't be attached. If I could be attached to what's out to another small independent human mind, or codependent, in this case human mind is codependent on a witch, I'm going to actually attach myself to that timing. I was saying for years just now, for years, ever since I was a little kid as a boxer, right? Like timing's everything in the fight of life. There's a timing for this, there's a timing for that. You got to be in the right place at the right time, right? Timing's everything in the fight of life. I had actually married my timing. I had married my progression to this other soul. One other soul in this whole worldwide. And I think the lesson that I'm being taught is to not attach, to become detached from these ideas, to become detached from these souls. The only thing I'm going to attach myself to now is the faith that the path of a righteousness will illuminate as you walk it. I'm just going to go completely faith-based and no limitation. I could be thinking of the biggest business of the world and still maybe I'm limiting myself because I'm thinking of the biggest business of the world that my mind right now can think of. And as my friend uses this great analogy, if I told you you would make $1 million, but this is all the things you got to do to make that $1 million. Or I'll give you $1 million if you do this, and this, and this. If you do this, and this, you'll get $1 million. But what about if we just do this, and this, and this, and this with no mental attachment, just not what I want for me, but for what God wants for me? I want to get what God wants for me. And I know that God's going to give it to me only if, right? Only if I become my best and I get his admiration and approval, that I pray to him, that I go with the teachings that I've gone with that have got me this far. And I will share another thing that I also shared in that thing is like I've been so blessed and lucky that the scientific electric energy that leaves the body when the rest of it feeds plants had come back in my uncle's case to visit me on a few undeniable occasions. And with my security clearance having rocket scientist father, you can see on my Instagram, I'll put a link in the description below to the exact reel where it's talking about the electric energy of his brother coming back to visit me. And I've always idolized him, and I've always looked at him as the guy in my family that went through everything I went through right before me. So he was my ticket to the next level. And when he was lost because of a small jealous mind and a small jealous minded community, actually, and the book that was written about his murder, the author actually really pinned that it was the fault of this shithead, shitbag community that to facilitate this whole thing, this whole small, jealous-minded, tear each other down cauldron, that the extremities of that process came to fruition, and it is. And I've never respected that community, and they've never respected me. And they're like, oh shit, my uncle would get up. He was muscle bound, perfect health for his age, hottest girlfriend on the island, great big place. And he would get up and hit the bicycle. These people would be trying to suck down the coffee to rip off as much of the hangover from last night because it's just part Margaritaville, and they'd be seeing him fucking booking it by on his bicycle. And that's really the only comment people had on it. That's all they really knew about him, was that he liked to ride his bicycle. And that's because he knew that they were toxic people, and that's not who he was, and that's not who he associated with. And I'm trying to hand you these, and I come from the land of enchantment where you learn these principles too. It's a real cowboy. You know, you've got to fight. You've got to, you'll notice my nose has broken like a whole bunch of times. You know, I got the fucking cheek split scars, the eyebrow splits, the fucking lips stitches, all of those, you know. And probably some head trauma too. But and you know, I've been all that shot at, stabbed, everything, right? You know, and I'm not saying that you really need to go through that, but there is just an interesting point that Kevin Chop Shop brought up, and that, you know, if you didn't go through these wars and these falls and these total hardships, you know, what kind of character do you really have? What kind of overcoming do you really have? And I mean, I hear that message loud and clear. You know, the other way to put that is we came here to suffer. You know, David Goggins will tell you, we can't, embrace that suffering, and that's going to be your level up. You know, the magic that you need isn't the work that you don't want to do. And I'm starting to figure out that we attach ourselves to these goals that serve us, that we think is going to serve us. But even if our goal is to build something that helps others, we've specified this something. What if we just, I want to help others, I want to become my best, and that person is going to do whatever God puts in front of him, you know, and maybe God's not putting anything in front of you until you get to that idea. You know, like I want God's vision for me now. And then there may be more suffering involved, you know, and then that may be where there's an overcoming of fear and a real gaining of faith as well. You know, this is a really dynamic life. And I really want to just say thank you. And, you know, because I really appreciate good people that care enough to become their best and provide a path for the rest that wouldn't have necessarily had it without them. But listen, it can always be gained. You don't need no one else. You don't need to follow really anyone else. You need to follow your heart and your conscience and what's telling you to do the right thing. Just do the right thing. Everything is a test. Everything is a test. And if you do the right thing, you can overcome the test. And I am testifying to you today that by just, you know, when I had the interaction that I was telling you about, where I was blessed to be contacted from a force of nature of the other side, that electric energy came back and visited me twice over a 9-month period. First time he visited me, and you can watch that next to my security clearance, never lying rocket scientist dad, all the way till 9 months later, where nobody really can give you a backup testimony. And I had to tell myself the moment that it happened that you're going to have to remind yourself this was real. Because a punk would go back and say, I don't know, maybe my mind was playing tricks on me. That was my exact thought. My exact thought 9 months before, when I did find some extracurricular, you know, when the message was very, very direct and other people were involved and can give you the testimony like I got, like I recorded on Instagram. That time, the one thought that came into my head, it was like, man, it's because you've made this 10-year, you were good for 10 years and you did this 10-year church thing that you're even receiving this. So it was both of us. It was my uncle's dedication, even through environments of absolute toxicity. It was his dedication and shine through that really gave me the strength to come in, and he saved me from another toxic situation. And this is interdimensional co-workings that's hard for someone to believe. A lot of people can't take this right here, you know, and they'll be like, yeah, whatever, you hocus pocus guy, click. But I'm trying to tell you a real testimony that could help you put things together in your mind. And there's a lot of guys out there that are going, and gals that are going through some amazingly hard challenges. And I want to use this woman, Maddie, and she's from the Anti-Alienation Project. And you listen to her, and she's talking about overcoming a brainwashing that goes on to in excess of 50 million children right now on this planet that have no help, no one to talk to, because you don't talk about this. It means going back. It means turning on a parent that really had turned on them a long time ago, and use them and reduce them to a pawn in this wreck the X to get the check scheme. It's like the American modeled woman now. Oh, God, help us. Help all men, help all women from becoming these black holes and actually, you know, we're all going to become our best through service to others. You know, get strong, help others, help nature, service to animals, you know, but service to self. And this is what I'm talking about, maybe, where this idea that service to self, it's technically a service to self when you really want this thing that you want so bad, you know, this thing that you, but when you open up that channel and it's like, what does God want so bad for me? What can I do that puts me in the God groove? And I have been someone who have said, all I care about is my wings in Valhalla for a long time before I came to this conclusion just today. And that's why I'm making this video. Again, from the mountains of Panama. You know, I'm just back from the city. I'm just back from Argentina. I'll be in Argentina. I'll be in Colombia. I'll be in Peru. I'll be in Panama. I'll be in Costa Rica. I'll be in possibly Japan. I'll be in possibly Africa. Who knows where I'm going to be? I'm not actually going to really tell myself anything there. I'm going to go where God wants me to go. I'm going to look at life as a path that illuminates as you walk it. I'm not going to confine myself to the opportunities even that are in my mind right now anymore. I'm going to try to do this level up where I don't need to do that. Not only can I not do that anyway, that's something I can't do. And there's a thing there too, right? Like if I can do something, well, then I'm doing something I'm comfortable doing. I know I can do it. But if I'm doing something I don't know that I can do, now I'm moving out of my comfort zone. And that's where, you know, I've been from point A to point B. And now I'm going from point B to point C. This new connection, this new jump, this new ramp that I'm building on my stairway to heaven, right? This new step. And I need to be in being so calculated on one thing I might miss. I might be limiting myself. I might be putting the mark too low. You know what I mean? And I might just really be not learning this lesson that I need to just do what God wants me to do. What does God want me to do? Well, He wants me to stay the course. You know, anybody can climb up to the top of that mountain. But now, to stay there, you're going to have to eat from what's there. You're going to have to catch what's there. You're going to have to work all within what's there at the top of the mountain. But you're not built for that, you don't think. You got to go back to the city to eat. You got to go back to and that's why I have to tell you, you know, nutritional diversity, nutritionaldiversity.com. It was an open-ended study of, all right, what strategic diet can I put from what we know? And then now, what strategic diet can I put from what we don't know? Which really made me valuable. Because now I can make a drink that you can't get anywhere else. Now I can make a meal that you can't get nowhere else. Now I'm using species that no one else is using. But Genesis 129 says he gives us all food bearing or seed bearing plants to use as foods. And now animals are a mobile staple. I could take a flock of sheep with me to the mountaintop. A very versatile next level food source that eats plants. And when we totally jump over the plant eating, when you look at really essences that move the needle, you can take ashwagandha and immediately add distance on your run. Probably time too, and ease the pain. Cordyceps mushrooms, serapeptase, those are harder elements to key in on. But for thousands of years, we had those keyed in on, right? There was plant macrobiotica, right, which is now associated in the most plethora of places as witchcraft, where they eat this crazy slaughtered, all fried food diet and are completely obese and unable to do what the ancestors, the genetics, would have been doing, right? And the knowledge is gone. Anyway, I'm going off on kind of a tangent here, but there are so many avenues in goodness and strength, and we just don't see them because we're married to these other ideas of straight lines and synthetics and, and the innovative human egotistical mind can come up with better remedies than nature can. And now we're looking at a health crisis and an agriculture system that actually kills the pollination system, which is the natural immune system of the ecology which we breathe from. So there's a lot of insanity in thinking that we know and doing what we want to do. And there's a lot of benefit and sanity and gain in doing what's put in front of us and just doing what's right. Doing the missions that God has given us and just doing them well. And these people and fooling people and fooling yourself can work insanely great for a while. And for certain devils, which I'm bound to think they're working within a very evil support system that we just don't know about, right? Or can't identify. And they so many evil people that know what they're doing is wrong come and, they have to have the best sheep's clothing there is, right? Because the polar opposite of that is just to come out right and tell you that they're lying. They're going to use you and leverage you and abuse you and whatever, right? And no one's going to get anywhere like that. But to have a deceptive modality where you want to leverage other people under you in an unfair way where it's not win-win, anything of that sort, if deception is involved at all, it is of that sort, okay? So, it's got to be honest, 1,000%. If there's lies in it, you need to walk away from that for a minute to help the liar. That dude, this doesn't work. And if they're lying to children, if a child's being lied to by an adult, then another adult needs to step in. Or you have a karmic account there. There's a karmic account. You're gonna have to pay in one way or another. Maybe it's another way you can get out of it. But definitely, you could probably get out of it by telling the truth to the child, right? You could get out of your karmic responsibility. Depending on how long it's gone on. That's another way timing is everything in the fight of life. Because, we could blame a person. We can't, if you get hit by a truck, You have exactly the amount of time that your bones take to heal. But if you keep yourself in this victim mentality, you know what I mean, of your own lack of strength building mentally or whatever is going on, lack of just doing what's right, to just do what's right. If you neglect to do that, you're just going to be stuck in a loop. And if you do what's wrong and you know it's wrong, wow, it is your loop way back here. And then you're going to take to the streets and protest about how the government needs to, how you're a true victim and the government needs to take responsibility for true victimhood. And you will scream and your eyes will pop out of your head and you will be almost a comic book depiction of a little fucking demon slime ball, right? You know, pretty much. And that's what you see nationwide, or excuse me, worldwide. So I've been all over the world now. I saw the manifestation of the extreme left, the extreme codependent modality. And I don't mean to get political here because I'm non-political, but I'm just saying this is how even this modality, this modus operandi, self-supports. And you have to look, I mean, some of these really definite scientific evaluations of human behavior, such as Kia Karlberg's work, the Swedish genius scientist, okay, that just published in English her stuff in 2021 on a very interesting day, okay, very, very interesting day. And the parental alienation day is another very interesting day. Right? And these are just a couple days ago. We're on the 28th. The parental alienation was on the 25th. And I mean, I can't tell you, I told myself I was going to free myself of the connection to this person and my responsibility to them to give them the hard truth because it was a child. It was just that situation I was talking about. But now they're an adult and now their bones should be, I've given them all the hard truth I can give them. There's really nothing more. I've checked every single box. Now, you know, it's about them and their journey free of me, you know, because what's going to happen is these victim mentalities are going to start saying it's because of the hard truth itself that they're continuously victimized. So, and you know, it's a situation where you have an adult who was unable to become spiritual in life, and this adult has no spirit. There is walking shells out there, and if they don't build soul, they're the polar opposite of having soul, which is vessel of evil, and it's just demonic possession, man. It really is. The person, if you ask them to tell the truth, if you put their fucking finger in a vice, okay, and cause them real pain, they'll tell you the truth. You know what I'm saying? But outside of them being hurt by the situation, they're not going to tell the truth. You know, and even in being hurt from the situation, if they're not forced to tell the truth, and there's and I want to talk about this real fast because I was talking about the plant world is right next to us. It's got phenomenal power. You know, I got a couple leaves outside that you could put in your lip right here, and it would be a pre-workout times 100. In Mexico, in Argentina, everybody's drinking this matcha all day, right? And they have a real good temperature regulation and everything. They know exactly how. They have a special straw and a special cup, you know. And it's an energy giving, spiritual helping, body cleansing thing. And you know, in different parts of the world, they'll have different substances that are known. And anyway, where I was going with this is, out in nature, there is such powerful shit that if delivered to you in a pill, you will believe in. But as a whole food, oh, that guy's crazy. Oh, I've heard you wouldn't believe. He's crazy. He thinks he's going to fucking heal himself off that. As they go, where do you think the pharmaceutical comes from? All those essences in the back of the pre-workout drink, where do you think that's all from? Those are all from the plant kingdom. And how is it that we don't know how to use, you really just got to think outside the box that you're in now to get to the new box, right? And you got to look at it as that way, that you're cracking saves here. You're getting into realms of operational ability that have a broader, more powerful spectrum than most. You're getting down to that raw binary code eventually, just like the Matrix jump, where you see past all the limitations in the world, and just the idea of focusing on endless, unlimited possibility will be the thing that upgrades your vision and upgrades your spirit. But you have to be in the intentions are everything. To have good intentions, a very well-spirited individual who's cultivated their spirit, they know when a person with bad intentions comes around, just like a dog does. There's a sixth sense there that's real. And Napoleon Hill talks about this in Think and Grow Rich. And so many, I would say, powerful unlocking of the limitations texts and concepts and YouTube videos out there, are relative to this idea. And it's all out there in the abstract. And the people that live in the limitation world, where they're unable to have faith in things they can't see or feel or touch, they're not exercising that part of the brain at all. That faith-based part of the brain. Einstein's quote, imagination is more important than knowledge. And arguably, once you get into quantum physics, which you can, you don't need to do long math problems. You might even be more creative and better not knowing that shit. You can attack all concepts, and even the ones that are far beyond your mind that you don't think you could ever attack. It's by attacking them that you may realize the impossible for yourself. I say I can't do a math problem to save my life. I can't really half the time, right? I shouldn't be saying that even, because I'm putting a limitation on myself. But I need to embrace what God has wanted for me more than what I want for me, and look at that with the eyes that I've been given, and try to wrap my head around what's going on. And I can come to a lot of the same conclusions, and maybe less specific, calculated ways, but maybe not. Maybe even in more specific, calculated ways than the mathematicians doing it. And it could be also the combination of me with the mathematician mastermind, a mastermind. There's nothing that compares with the power of the mastermind, right? And we did such good ones for a year that we start recording them. And it's the ones that really pow. I mean, it's when we really hit it. That I make these old school gym killer videos afterwards. Because I'm just pushing that boundary. I'm just pushing that line. And I've had a real hard time. I'm actually really good, I'm noticing now, in the masterminds and the conversations with others. But I've had a really, really hard time just talking to the camera. Me and the camera. And I don't know what that is. And it's not self-consciousness. But the camera turns on and it does something. Native Americans, I find this interesting. Native Americans who had the best relationship with nature ever, when the camera was turned on them, they got real uncomfortable about that. And when they saw the image produced of their likeness by this technological device, they got real uncomfortable about that. So there's something there, and I don't know what it is. But because of the delivery possibilities, because of the constructive potential now online, and because of the evil that's there online using this constructive potential against us, I feel that it is now almost a duty to try to contribute and construct in that other way. And again, all I care about now is getting my wings in Valhalla. So I just want to do valiant things. And it became very clear to me that I had to make videos for a person to communicate to a person that couldn't listen to me on the phone. And timing being everything in the and I don't think she could have handled it. I don't know if she could handle it. I don't think a lot of young people can handle hard truths. And maybe I was doing something I wanted to do, that I needed to do for me. I'm not sure. You know, I hope that one day she will appreciate what I did. I hope that it is effectively able to cut the time down that it statistically, Maddie from Anti-Alienation Project, she's the only brainwashed kid. And these kids have what I call Elizabeth Smart syndrome. You know, when Elizabeth Smart was kidnapped by freaks that took her from a church-going family out into the hills and raped her every single day. When the police identified her on the street, they said, "You're Elizabeth. I know you're Elizabeth." And these people could save her. She was like, "I'm not Elizabeth. She didn't want to be saved. She had been abused to that point where she did not want to be saved. She didn't want anything bad happen to these child-abusing rapists. She loved them. It wasn't love. That can't be true love, right? And she talks about, I need to read it. I think she might have wrote a book or something. I need to look at where she's at in life again now. But that kind of abuse is just, wow. Maybe it's a lifetime of overcoming. I wish she would speak out for all the kids that are in her dynamic situation. Because sickos have kids. If these sickos who kidnapped her could have had a state sponsorship, okay, could have got paid a welfare check, additional welfare checks for doing what they did. Oh, forget about it. You know what I mean? They would have been popping kids out left and right. You know what I'm saying? And they would have made a little army of abuse victims. And so, you know, there was something, they must have not been able to have kids of their own. And thank God that those spirits came into another vein. Or I don't know, maybe not. Maybe, you know, it's all up to the individual at some point, whether they're going to become a vessel of goodness or a vessel of evil, you know, and that's just straight strength, you know, and you can see that very clearly in nature. And you know, I think that there may not have been, I think that some of the conflict with the Native Americans having their image taken is it wasn't time. Well, I don't know. I don't really want to speak on that. You know, those people were exploited more than anyone, and they're still damaged from generation to generation. There's people born with no hope in their eyes because that culture is just not around them. Where is that spore going to float in, that spore of hope going to float in when they're told that over and over and over, if it does float in or if it creates from this little shimmer and grows into this bright light of strength through lots of cultivation and lots of gases and elements coming into it and feeding it, you know. Thank you, Richie. He's like, you got a good tiger and a bad tiger on each shoulder. And then which one's going to win? The one that you feed more, right? The one that trains more, you know? So if you've been in a diabolical mirrorage image of a diabolical personality, man, you got to go clean up. You got to go start feeding that good tiger. You got to start hanging out with only good tigers. You have to identify that the bad tiger is a bad tiger. If it can convince you that it's a good tiger, And it's the one, that's the first thing it's going to try to do. That's the best thing it could possibly do. So whatever you're paying attention to, whatever you think is the gospel right now, check that shit, man. Check that shit, you know. If it's and let me tell you this, if the gospel doesn't work in the life of the person giving it to you, such as Elizabeth Smart's kidnappers, they didn't have any success in life, but they're brainwashing this kid as if they are somebody to do that, to teach at all, you know. Right at any point, they could be, the child could have been, we're living in the fucking sticks. These people are fucking violating me for their own pleasure. You know what I mean? They want to see my family. They probably did want to see the other family suffer. You know what I mean? It's, or maybe they didn't. Maybe they just wanted their own selfish fears answered. That the world is, no one's ever gonna, we're gonna have to brainwash this kid because otherwise she's gonna see the reality, And so we're all brainwashed kids, man. We've all been brainwashed by these narcissistic personality disorder people, right? That control others, are willing to deceive to do it. And they, through unjust control, injustice of control, and it's a snowball effect. Eventually they become so sick that only new forms of fucked up control are what feed them, and they're dark beings. Again, no dark being is going to come to you and say, I'm a dark being. They're not. They're going to come to you in sheep's clothing saying that the real shepherd of honesty and hard truths is your enemy. And that their convenient lie is what you need. They're easy, right? To sustain to the end as a shitbag is no fucking, it's nothing. It's not, you can't be proud of it. You can't look up to it. These people who sustain themselves as a shitbag from start to finish, it's, there's no strength there. It's all weakness. It's all weakness. And that's all and most of those people that have been in that cognition for long enough, again to their 40s, they're fucked. What are they going to do? How are they going to turn that around? How are they going to turn that around? Prove me wrong. Definitely. That would be best for the child. That would be best for the world. That would be best for everybody. So definitely, please prove me wrong. But that's not what you see. Intergenerationally, that's not what you see. And if you look at the evil families in the world, they're incestual, right? They go by the principles to an extreme that I'm talking about. If you really look at the top, all these Rothschild banker people, they're all married to their cousins and shit. They're that selfish. They're like, no, we don't even want this fucking dragon-hoarded, that we don't even use, palaces everywhere. It's funny because my mother did the same exact shit at a smaller scale. Just having to have. Having not to use, but just having to have. To just, validate yourself. To feel comfortable. To feel comfortable is satanic, almost. To get out of your comfort zone. That's what I'm telling you. I'm moving from here, I'm moving to there. I got a lot of travel, I got a lot of risk. You know what I mean? You really learn damage control. You really learn how powerful toxicity is. When you're moving at the speed of sound and you're in a solid trajectory, trust me, man, everything's just like, how does he get to do that? And we don't, because you didn't put the work in. That's how. And then, and you're too busy hating on every fucking success. What do you think that's doing to your mind? That you're telling yourself, oh, they're lucky in some way, or they're blessed in some way, right? But as I said, when I was blessed in my biggest ways, when someone from the other side was able to look out for me, it was because I put the work in and I got that thought right away. It's almost as if he came to me and said, you are getting this message because of how good you've been. And I had to fucking find out I got 0 good messages when I took the fall in victimhood. And fuck it, I'm not a parent no more. I gotta get out of this pain. I didn't drink a fucking drop for 10 years. And then I just jumped into 10 tequila bottles. Forget about it. In a day, I shouldn't be alive. There was nights I fucking actually was trying to kill myself with the fucking tequila and other shit, you know? And there's fucking witnesses to that. And do they jump out and kick you when you're down? Every shithead, when they see a valiant man fall, is get fucking that valiant man. That you're not just gonna fall as a valiant man. You're gonna fucking get kicked by every fucking douche that fucking would never fucking kick anybody ever. All of a sudden, when you fall down, they're like, oh, I'll kick that. Fuck, motherfucker, stay down. Don't get up and be a reflection of what I should have been and didn't become because I was weak of my own choices. And so now that I've gotten up, I really have to thank everybody who came and kicked me, actually, too, because I'm gonna fuck up every fucking evil I see now with that same mentality. Like, bro, I'm gonna throw you and kick you and step on you. And that's the things people don't understand about Wes Watson, you know, who may be getting carried away in his storytelling. I don't know. I've heard a lot of people feel that way, and I've wondered, but I'm just gonna stay open-minded there. I'm not gonna be conclusive there. I'm gonna take what works from such a valuable soul, and I'm gonna appreciate them to the point. My boy Patrick here in the Mastermind, you can check it out. He says, I'm gonna act like I'm in the guy's living room because I appreciate what he has said for me that has worked so much. And I'm just like, that's right. Bang. When it's right, and you hear it. You hear the ding, you know? And some people don't hear the ding. And some people will just sit there and chirp away at this bullshit. Real deal. If you're a skilled translator, insecurity of myself, you know? And so yeah, it's and any wasted time, man, and you're just missing your biggest opportunities. Let me tell you guys, time and alcohol, time and bullshit conversations with bullshit people that aren't about forward movement, that gossip about other people, man, you're creating little black holes that aren't just missed opportunities, but they're pitfalls. They're little fucking ankle breakers for the people around you. And they're eventually going to learn and build the strength to get rid of the pit hole makers altogether, you know? So, all right, guys. Well, that's what I've got for today. And again, you know, I'll be in 4 different cities this next coming month. 5 different cities this coming month. You know, I keep it moving. It's not just nutritional diversity. It's not just geographical diversity, but it's adversarial diversity, diverse adversity that I'm going after now. And that's my new project, is diverse adversity and self-imposed and exterior, and just looking at diverse adversities that we can impose on self, and putting those self-challenges on self of what we cannot do, you know? And that's it. What you cannot do today is what you need to just be fucking lasering in on, you know? And not to any sort of limited goal. Just open-mindedly, I want to look for what God's giving me to be. And I know that I'm going to have to do shit I don't want to do, and even better, shit that I think I can't do to get there. Hua, much love. I love you guys. I am someone who just wants to see everyone win. I forgive those who have trespassed against me for me. And I realize that you didn't happen to me, but for me. For me to build strength I never thought I could have or never wanted to have. But now that I have it, I sing further than I've ever seen before, except standing on the shoulders of greats. So those are the two things right there. Is overcoming, not becoming, and standing the shoulders of greats. And not putting limitations, not putting such a concrete goal in place, and not being so detail critical or detail controlling, but detail observing, right? Because the devil's definitely in the details, and so are the opportunities. And so instead of criticizing and controlling these details, I'm going to be open and observant of them, right?